friends, welcome back to the Kirkpatrick Podcast. It is Vanessa, and over the last month or so, we've been talking a lot about culture, alignment, learning, and there's really a hard truth that needs to be stated underneath it all. It's something that I see so often at Kirkpatrick Partners, and it's this concept and this idea that evaluation can scale solely because of one person getting the institutional knowledge or that, educational knowledge. The fact is, evaluation cannot scale on individual effort alone. So often people will ask me, "Hey, Vanessa, how do we do this? Like, who's doing this well? What is the secret sauce for organizations that are doing it well?" And the fact is, the secret sauce is that they have the entire organization bought in to this concept of evaluation, and they're all working towards the same goal. So one of the limitations of individual excellence, if you will, is the fact that organizations will rely on just a few committed people to keep evaluation alive. Now, while it's great to have folks that are committed to evaluation, if evaluation is going to depend on their heroics, it's going to be unsustainable. Just those few people may or may not have the influence to change behavior, to change policy, to change procedure, to really champion this new way of working. And if we think about how any culture shifts in an organization, it comes from it being something that's top down, from the sides, bottom up. It is a whole organizational shift. Now, a conversation that we sometimes have is, who sets culture? Is it the leader? Or is it, the people a part of the organization? And so I'm not going to go into the debate that we sometimes have internally about it. But I believe that the only way culture is created is because everyone is a part of building that culture and agree that this is the right culture and the right way to move. Relying on one person to put policy in place that the entire organization is going to buy into isn't going to work. And yet we see that over and over and over again at Kirkpatrick Partners when folks go through our certification programs. And when you rely on that one person and they don't have the influence, the capacity to do the work that is truly changing culture, and then they leave, you start to wonder, why did I just invest in professional development for that person? We have nothing to show for it on our end. And there are at times organizations where they will start to do that work and it works out well for them, but other times it's often impossible to see a true return on giving one person or just a few people that education. The systems have to change. The structures have to change. The way we talk to each other has to change. The way that we collect data has to change. As you can see, there's all of these pieces, right, that need to be part of the evaluation piece and actually transforming the culture. And one instructional designer or one evaluation specialist or even one director of learning cannot do that work for an entire organization. Now they can if they're in an organization of maybe like 20, but usually when you're at those smaller scales, you usually don't have, a director of learning. You have like a director of HR and they're doing a million things. So learning and evaluation is sometimes at the top of the list. At scale, evaluation becomes a leadership responsibility. It becomes a shared language. And it becomes a supported capability. It's no longer about, we don't have time to evaluate. We don't really want to know. It's the moment that organizations stop asking, how do we evaluate better? And start to ask, how do we support evaluation as a system? And I think when we stop to look at evaluation as an afterthought and more as that GPS or that map analogy, where we're all working from the same map and it's redirecting us as there are hiccups along the road, organizations start to see the value of it. It becomes easier to predict when things are going to be going well and when there may be some rough patches ahead. It is easy to identify where those gaps are in the organization that are leading towards, challenges and are leading towards these sort of shifts in dynamics in the organization. But that only comes along because everybody is bought in. Sometimes I think that as kids, we watch these Disney movies and these fairy tales or these superhero, shows or cartoons, and there's one person that saves the world. One person that saves the princess, and please don't get me into that because, girl, you can save yourself. But anyway, there's one person that does the saving for everybody. And we start to believe, oh my gosh, and we start to believe that we can be that one person that saves it for everyone else. And we have to bear the entire responsibility of saving something. And I say, oh my gosh, because man, the coincidences that I've had today and the realizations in conversations. If you're Bud, my business coach today, this was a conversation he and I had about the weight of the world on one person's shoulders, and is it feasible for one person to solely be responsible for everything? And the fact of the matter is no. But I think that we could be conditioned at times to want to be that, or to be that sole person that saves everyone or saves the company or saves or changes how everything is done, in an organization. And that's not how anything works. It's the reason why I moved to a community model when it came to the certifications. Because what do I honestly believe? I honestly believe that the way we get anywhere is rising tides rise all ships, and we all are in this together, and community is the way that we move forward. And somewhere along the line, because our plates got so full, I think we also started to be like, you know what? Not my problem. Not my problem. I'll complain about that problem, but it's not my problem to fix or be part of the solution. When organizations lost some of that community, I think they also lost what is so needed here when it comes to organizational change, and that is everyone being part of it. Because now I'm really thinking about some organizations that do culture work and do move so cohesively. And a few are coming to my mind, and the fact is they all feel a sense of community. Say community one more time, Vanessa. A sense of community and a sense of loyalty to that organization. Whereas when you're only there for your 2-year stint, you kind of think, if do I really want to take on more on my plate? I'm not really that bought into the company. Like if they grow astronomically, like is it really going to change anything for me necessarily? And the answer is probably no. And so we don't stick our necks out and we don't really fully participate. And I get that. Organizations haven't always been the most employee focused or centered. So I can certainly understand where that has happened. And that's where we're failing as CEOs. And we're assigning people to save parts of the company. And it's not up to certain people to save parts of the company. It's up to all of us to work together to save companies, to change culture, to be a part of culture changes and, these new initiative shifts. And we don't do the work of alignment. We don't do the work of connecting with others, letting them know, no, you actually have to be part of this. You have to be part of this, this program moving forward. We need you to share the data. It is the direction in which we are moving towards. Damn. That's exactly what the book's about, right? Building a culture of evaluation. The new Kirkpatrick model for performance and innovation. We can't do it alone. And it's time for us to stop thinking that we have to be the ones that do it alone. And that's the beauty of the Kirkpatrick model. It's not about giving you a financial ROI at the end of your training program. It's about helping organizations see performance, see what's working, see what's not. Because when you can do those things and you can double down, triple down on what's working, the ROI is going to be there. The company's going to work more efficiently. The company's going to work more effectively. Sales are going to go up. You're going to be able to spend less, save more. We need to stop attributing, ROI to only certain, singular things and attribute ROI to larger initiatives and frameworks. And while the Kirkpatrick model can help organizations see performance, the fact of the matter is culture and structure are going to be what determine whether or not that insight is even used. And without organizational ownership, even the best frameworks stall. I'm not saying we're the best, but I'm saying maybe we're kind of the best. We're at least the standard, right? That has to count for something. I've seen some organizations recently try to implement new frameworks in their organization, which I commend. They're really trying to do the work of evaluation and culture shift and, doing better. But again, it can't happen alone. It has to be done together. And that's why we built the Kirkpatrick Collective. It's not about a recurring membership model. It's about putting people in one place instead of this cohort, that cohort, that cohort, this cohort. It's about putting you all in one place and saying, let's come together as a community and let's talk about how do we make this thing stick beyond just me? And how can we make this thing stick so the organization accelerates? Because I do honestly believe part of the job hopping situation is the fact that organizations start to kind of like stall out. Because if you're an organization that's like skyrocketing, a lot of times you stay. Jobs are formed. It's an exciting time. There's more incentives. But and not every organization is going to have skyrocket years, right? But when you are in an organization that can invest in their people stay and they hang out and they're bought in. And so I ask you to think about those of you that are so bought into evaluation and are wanting to go beyond evaluation. Instead of asking, how do I get to level 3 and 4? Start by asking yourself, how do I get this to stick beyond me? That's the question that's going to mark individual insight to organizational capability. And now in April, we're going to shift from culture to structure and how shared understanding goes from a shared understanding to how organizations support evaluation at scale. Because learning is powerful, but only when it's actually supported. So I'll catch you all on the next episode. Bye, friends.